Well, it is Thursday night. We are live on the internet. Brian Beatty. My goodness, it's just so good to be able to be on the internet with
David
you.
Carroll, I'm so glad that somebody put this together for us. You know, I know we've joked about Al Gore and his great plans, but was it really the CIA? Was it the CIA that did this for us and looked at?
Well, I'm not sure. On the Two Wise Fools podcast this week, we surmised that most of the tubes that make the internet are just like filled with cats, like going back and forth between. Yeah.
That's why sometimes it's scratchy, like when you're actually.
Yeah.
And do they also feel the blurry? Because sometimes you're a little blurry when I'm looking at you. So the cats do that.
Oh, Lord. The internet makes it all blurry. Oh, the internet drives me bananas.
David.
Doug Farron, hello. How you doing? If you're watching with us, give us a shout out. We'd love to be able to see who's with us. Philip Morace he's clapping. That's a clappy hands.
Clap?
Yeah.
Look at it. That's beautiful.
That's clappy hands. Yeah.
Thank you for clapping, Philip. That's good.
Well, Brian Beatty, you got a coffee there?
What's that mug? What's that?
That's a new mug. That's a new mug. What's that mug?
Let me spin it without hurting anyone. It's my Viking mug.
That's Viking mug?
Yeah. So 2 years ago, took the family to the ROM to see the Viking display at the Royal Ontario Museum. And it was very disappointing. I mean, the presentation was lovely, but see the picture of the helmet we've always had about the Vikings? It wasn't true. They didn't have the horns. My whole history was just shot by being at the ROM that weekend.
Boy, what a balloon pop that must have been for you.
Yeah, I got over it a little bit, but it was sad. I'm not going to lie to you. It was sad for a moment.
It was enough disappointing that you bought a mug. Right?
Well, actually, my son bought me this mug.
Oh, there you go.
What's on that side? What's over there?
Okay.
What's this?
Vikings.
Well,
I'm a Viking.
And I've come to steal your land. Name that. Somebody name that. Where's that from?
Aaron? Well, it was first from VeggieTales, second from a freshman 99.5 staff meeting.
I knew you know where it's from. I was asking others. Like I thought maybe Aaron would say, VeggieTales, or Leanne or Dorothy. Somebody could have mentioned, hi, Dorothy, good to see you.
Aaron says you've been using that mug every day for a while now. Is that true? And I've just noticed it right now.
It's true. In fact, I think that's actually the third time you've asked me about it. I told you a very similar story every time.
Oh man, elder brain is something awful. It's an awful scenario. Well, Brian, listen,
David,
we have had quite a week. We've had quite a week. My toque is cattywampus.
Anything new?
That was a good use of cattywampus, right? Sort of like on the line.
Make sure it's the right one.
So we have had an incredible week. This past Sunday.
More than a week.
More than a week, for sure. Well, if you want to go larger, we've had an incredible 20 years. How about that?
Yes.
Should we go smaller from 20? Like
down a bit from 20.
All right, I've qualified 20 years. Been a great 20 years. We're gonna go smaller. An incredible few months.
17?
Oh yeah, 17.
What happened 17 years ago, David?
Well, we started the Freedom House 17 years ago.
Woohoo!
In fact, today I was having a discussion with our friend Brian Thompson, and in tomorrow's Brantford Expositor, you can read a story about Freedom House and our new announcement that we're going to talk about in a second. And it was he was saying, hey, tell me the backstory, you guys. He goes, this isn't for the article, but just tell me who you guys are and how this whole thing worked out. And I was telling him about 20 years back when we started the Christian radio station in town, which is now Faith FM. We started it back when it was Freshwood 99.5, and Brian and I ran this radio station with a few other people, and we chatted about what Freedom House could be and what city transformation could look like and all these things. Back in the day, Charlotte Beatty, she says, hi, everyone, hugs and kisses. Charlotte and I hung drapery at the Freshman 99.5 office.
Charlotte's made a drapery joke like a week ago to you, and I didn't know if you remember it, but apparently you do. All right, good.
Oh yes. And she laughs out loud, laughs out loud, laughs out loud, laughs out loud. Yes. When we opened this radio station, somehow it was clearly Charlotte's doing and all orchestration, but we at like 4 o'clock in the morning after an all-night decor session opening up that radio station, we found ourselves in the middle of the night hanging drapes together, and that was the latest I've ever hung drapes, without a doubt.
Yes, it wasn't like we started late or anything. Like we were renovating that place for weeks, but there was still tons to pack in the day before the opening for sure.
That's right. Well, the point is that during that time we were chatting about Freedom House and what was going to happen, and this week we really we announced what our big next step is, and this is a long-term step that we've been dreaming about for years and years. This idea of a transformation center where you could impact business, you could impact ministry, impact the city, and for us, as it turns out, we really felt like God kind of pushed us in the direction of affordable housing, because affordable housing is a legitimately it's an impactful issue in our community. And as we were looking for a new home, we couldn't escape this, right? Like, affordable housing is so significant, and it's the difference between a good life and a terrible life for a lot of people right now in our communities.
Yeah, it's one of the major needs in our city, and if you're thinking transformationally, you don't just go, I'm going to do all this stuff and then hope something good comes from it. But finding the needs in the city, like sewing miles of curtains, is a great need.
Charlotte, me and you, curtain duty.
But she is LOLing. I can hear it from where I am. She actually has also cackled. So there'll be
I believe it.
LOL in there as well.
There it is. I heard it too.
And that won't catch on the COL, the cackling out loud, but trust me, it's happening.
Hello, Asia. Good to have you here. Yeah, so we announced this week, and then you'll see it in tomorrow's Brantford Expositor, that we are at the very beginning stages. We've announced that there is an agreement on a chunk of land inside the city for us to be able to build housing for active adults, right? These are not this is not a senior, this is not a retirement home. It is an unretirement home, right?
Yeah, there's a whole story that goes with that we're laughing at, and we can't tell you yet, but we'll tell you a great story in a few months about why it's called that, and a connection to an incredible gentleman from Brampton. We told a bit of his mention to him. His name's Ian Jones. He's from Brampton, and he's a developer we're going to work with, or are working with rather. But yeah, his passion for adult living and city transformation is also growing. And it's really incredible how our stories have meshed. Look what you're doing, David.
So let's take a look. Like, in case,
is this a flyover?
This is a flyover here. So this here,
flyover.
This is Charing Cross. So this here is the West Street Hill.
The whole place.
This is the West Street Hill.
West Street Hill. That's right.
So going up the hill, and you go, oh, left blinker, left blinker.
Cross. Here we go.
Safely turn. Okay.
There.
So the piece of property that Freedom House
you're very savvy. So what we're seeing there in front of us, where the cursor is it was the Brantford soccer league where they had their office. So that building is our first building on the west. That's 160 Charing Cross. As you go across, there's what is that? That's United
Northgate.
Rentals. Northgate Rentals. Northgate Rentals. And then connected to the same building with Northgate, there's a bunch of offices in there. I think maybe 4 offices there. And then there's a little strip mall with 4, I believe, storefronts. And then you drive down a road called Cloverdale. There it is, Cloverdale. Let's drive down that. Oh, I think there's something's in the trees. Now, there you go. There you go. Okay, so there's all the land we're talking about. We said there's 5 acres. All of that land in behind that goes all the way down to Galileo
Figaro.
And yes, if you're wondering, yes, we make that joke every time. So all the way down the hill.
Well, I make the joke every time.
Correct.
You
correct.
You attempt not to.
Now Dave is discipled.
Yes, because Brian tries not to get these lyrics stuck in his head because all he'll think about are lyrics. And now we're incepting lyrics into his head. So that's a little gift from me. If you're encouraged by this, yeah, okay.
Thank you, David. So if you start on the west, if you start up on Charing Cross, this actually goes all the way down the hill. So the back of our lot goes all the way down the hill to Galileo. And it comes actually out over by the bottom of the West Street Hill, if Dave's going to fly you that way a little bit. And yeah, so that's the 5 acres that we have purchased. So we're working through some details about how that's going to work, and there's lots of stuff we have to do with the city, site plans, and building permits, and yada yada blah blah. That's going to take a few months. So if you were looking for timelines, we would like to have it done yesterday, but I don't think that happened. But we are really, really very excited to be able to announce it. We've been working on, getting this piece of property, or a piece of property, for about a year and a half, and it's quite good. Oh, what is this?
This is what's going to be in tomorrow's Expositor. There's you and I standing socially distanced, one behind each other, and we took a number of pictures of this, and we said, do you do the big wide hand spread, or you do the like hands at the side? And our friend Brian Thompson went with wide hand spread. That's nice, isn't it?
Brian Thompson, you started talking about Brian a few minutes ago. Brian's worked with the Expositor for years and years, a wonderful gentleman. He's been fantastic to us, and even all the downsizing that's happening in newspapers, he's had tons of extra work, but he's always been very gracious to us and tells a great story. So yeah, so he came out to the property today with us, and Dave spent some time on the phone with him today, told a bit of the story, and then we talked a bit more of the story on the property, and he did a great job with that article. So yeah,
Brian's like an award-winning photographer. Like, he is a Ontario and Canada renowned newspaper photographer, and wonderful fellow, wonderful family. Him and Donna have served the city in so many different capacities for years, and so being able to even just see him out at that site today was a real pleasure, because we love our local media. They do a wonderful job. And
yeah. I was very encouraged when you told me the fact that he asked the deeper story about what we do, because sometimes people don't get it. In fact, most times people don't get it, because why would a church want to do this? Like, why would a church want to do housing? Why would a church want to do, partner with business? Like, why would a church want to do all that? And we've actually been quite intentional from the beginning. In fact, the first time I met Brian, he came to our first building. So back, it must be 15 years ago, more than that, 15, 16 years ago, back at 178 Market Street, which was a Big Blue House, which is now Freedom Gate Apartments, affordable housing. We were doing a art day. So a few people in our church wanted to display their art and maybe sell some, and Brian came in and looked around. It was like, what are you people doing in here? But from the very beginning, he's been very gracious and wanting to see things go well. So God bless you, Brian and Donna.
Even in the article, it references the beginning home of Freedom House, and when we started this whole thing, it officially launched now a little bit over 17 years ago. We say this has been our 17th anniversary last weekend, but it was actually a little bit before. But so it's more than 17 years back. But we found this building, and it was just this like this fascinating step of faith walking into, you know, I was telling them a bit today, even back story of like, you know, many years ago, we're like, what could the church look like? What should the church look like? Even if you had to start from scratch. And then we did, you know,
and then we did.
From scratch. And then, yeah. And when this building, we were in it for a number of years, and we were doing quite a lot of downtown outreach and community outreach. And you know, we hit this mark where we were meeting people even across the road who were dealing with like cycles of poverty, and in our work with Transform Our World International and Transformation Canada, or I guess it's Transform Our World Canada, soon to be.
True story.
The idea of breaking the cycles of poverty is really dear to us. And how do you break this institutional generational poverty? And we would see people come and find some hope and find some life, and then they would go right back into the same living conditions that were crappy, really, in many areas, and they would fall back into these cycles. And we were like, well, how do you break these cycles? Excuse me. And housing that is not just housing, but exceptional housing, affordable housing.
Yeah.
But how do you make it extra, right? Like you'll see in this article tomorrow, and our goal is not just to build housing and affordable housing, but to make ideal living, like an ideal living concept and an ideal living environment where people don't just live, but they're encouraged to be able to thrive and transform the community around them.
Yeah, exactly. And so actually going back to those days, Dave, when we had 178 Market, it wasn't even our idea to do affordable housing. Like we wanted to find ways to serve in different ways that were really tangible. But it was actually another business guy in town here, Gabriel Kirchberger, that said, because we were outgrowing that building and we were looking for another building, and he had one that we were talking with him about, and he walked through our building in like 10 minutes and said, well, I can buy your building, you can buy my building, we can trade buildings, blah, blah, blah. He said, but what you should do is you should make this into affordable housing. And then he said, I'll help you. And he really did. I mean, the reason why we were able to do the first round of affordable housing was because a business guy liked what we were doing and said, I'll help you do this. It was amazing.
And it's interesting, you know, as I was talking with Brian today about this project, that's always continued. Like the idea of partnership and helping one another achieve your dreams and the things inside your heart that God's put inside of our hearts. That's always been right at the very forefront of what we do at Freedom House. And Ian Jones, who's referenced in this article that you'll see tomorrow or tonight when we share it, the partnership of him and his vision, it was incredibly vital. Like we couldn't have made this happen without him, but also he couldn't make his I know how to build things vision happen without a church that went, okay, I see the value in you and in being in the marketplace. And this is not something that you find every single day. So as I was telling the story, it again struck me that we have to, as the church, be able to think about things in slightly different ways than traditionally we've thought about them, right? Between church and marketplace. And if we can remember that the original church, the ecclesia, functioned in the marketplace, it's a game changer. It's absolutely a game changer. And it's liberating for people who are in the business community and in the marketplace to be able to go, great, I get it. Let's partner together.
Yeah, for sure. We won't go deeply into Freedom Tower.
Terry,
Terry
This
is
is
one of the relocation team, incredible, and he's been pushing for this name, Freedom.
yeah,
So you might get it. Who knows, Terry? You might
be Terry. We're not.
But the concept and the mindset of church has got to be more than somewhere you come to, like an attractional model of how we've done church, and that's what's been happening for years. But that's not the biblical mandate. It really is, how do you equip people to go and do it? And if you follow through the book of Acts, it really wasn't until, especially with Paul's life, Apostle Paul, it wasn't really until he hooked up with a couple business people, a husband and wife team, Priscilla and Aquila, and they hooked up, and that's when they saw incredible influence into the city. And so that model is really important. And so our goal is, let's see if we can get the business people that are passionate about the city and the church together with people that are passionate about the arts and passionate about media. How many can we get on one piece of land to create this transformation center that can transform, keep working at the transformation of Brantford and beyond, right?
In the article that you see there, it says that we're roughly, and give or take, 150 units. And as we were talking with Brian today, you said, boy, I'll tell you, like, there's going to be a demand for this, not just because there is actually a gap in housing for people who are boomers who need affordable housing, not just because of that, but our goal and hope is to be able to create a scenario where these folks who are living together can come together as a body, as a unit, to be able to go, wonderful, we're living together, let's live on purpose and let's serve the city on purpose. And my goodness, man, the idea tonight in my own mind of this team of people living in proximity and living life together and going, wonderful, how do we, because all of our resources aren't taken up in rent and all these different things, how do you take our resources and go, let's bless this city together as a body? Man alive, like the potential of this is just like, gets your heart fluttering, right?
Yeah, and we're already talking about what those people or who those people will be. Like, we don't know who they are, but we're already talking about how do we have the talks with them in the interviews of who's going to live there, so they catch our vision and want to be there. Like, we've already talked about the people that are in the retail space that we have. How do we get them on mission with us as well to go, yeah, we want to be part of transformation in the city, because everyone wants a better city. There's nobody that says, I don't want a better place for my kids, or I don't want a better place for my neighbors. Nobody's doing that. And so the concept, to be honest, people in the city get it quicker than people in the church. Now, that's unfortunate, but that's very true. The idea that we want to make a better city, and it can't just be, hey, come sit in my pew, or come sit in the chairs we put in nice rows, and that'll change the world, because it doesn't.
And it's not like everybody has to be a part of the Freedom House Church body necessarily. I even think about a couple, the Whittingtons, who used to own Jungle Heat, just down the road from where our little stretch of Charing Cross is. And Rich and Sandy, incredible people, just wonderful, wonderful folks. And years ago, they gave us a call and said, hey, I've been listening to you talk about the kindness thing. And, what if we did like a coat drive? Would that be a good thing? We said, yeah, sure. That'd be a great thing. And we totally partnered with this coat drive. And these guys, for a bunch of years with this hot sauce store, they did a coat drive that was so successful that essentially they made sure that there were coats every single winter for the homeless shelter at the time, for our kindness center, for Why Not. Like, there was enough coats raised because a business said, I want to use my business as a transformational tool to be able to help make our city a better place. And they did it. And I cannot wait to partner with businesses and to just encourage and whatever we can do to be able to breathe life into local small business. It's so good.
Yeah. And that's a great story. It was fantastic for the years that happened. But we've had many of those stories where people that are in business or government came along and said, oh, we love that stuff you do. Maybe we could do concerts for you. and we hosted some of the greatest concerts because a couple people in business said we can help you do that. And so we brought in Randy Bachman. You got it there. There it is. David
right there.
David,
That is a
tell them
yeah,
Dave. There you go.
that's a drawing from Randy Bachman, like Canadian classic rock superstar, international Randy Bachman guy. It's him. He sketched my guitar and he wrote my guitar on it. I framed it and put it on my wall.
And he signed it.
Love this guy. Yeah. So we were doing this concert with Randy Bachman, and he's backstage and he's just killing time. And he finds these pieces of cardboard and he goes, "Give me a pen." I said, "Oh, okay, sure." And he handed the guy a pen, and he doodled my guitar. Actually, should I show it? Let's do it.
Okay, you do it. While you're saying that, who else did we have? We brought in, so Lighthouse was the first concert we did at the Sanderson Center. And then we did, who was the guy, rocket launcher? What was his name?
Bruce Coburn.
Bruce Coburn. And then the
Bruce
third
Coburn.
And there it is. That is an original Randy Bachman, my guitar. There you go. One day, David, will be worth dollars.
One day. I looked online to see if this is something that he does often. I couldn't find it. So
there you go.
All right, Randy Bachman.
It is an original. So we've had such great connection with local people that just want Brantford to be a great city. And I believe there's so many people, and you could go through so many names right now. Like Lucas and Laura Dogood. Like the amount of times they've come along, and we were doing Frosty Fest, and they're like, "Hey, we want to help," and they bring their cookies, and the logo you see in the top right-hand corner, that was designed by Lucas. So, and he's done a bunch of stuff for us, and so many people that have made that connection to the mission of making a great city. And we just get the opportunity now to have a larger footprint to be able to do it even more.
And we're nothing special, like we say it well, I'm nothing special. We say that we're just a group of ordinary people that believe that kindness can transform a city. And as we were talking today, writing a press release and talking with Brian Thompson, that's the thing to me that struck me once again, is that this whole thing has been a bit of an experimentation, really. Like, all right, because Brian Thompson asked the question. He said, "You guys often talk about transformation. So what in the world does that mean?" And I brought it back from me to Captain Kindness. And like when Captain Kindness over the years has gone to schools, and I'll do these assemblies, I'll get kids to do a repeat after me. And it's like kindness changes cities by good into good. And I said, that's to me what transformation is. It's you look for things that aren't good and you inject good into them using whatever injects good in this culture. And then you believe in our world, we believe that is a thing that God will use. That Romans 2:4 says that the kindness of the Lord leads people to repentance and leads people to change, right? And so you inject it in there and you go, cool, great. Let's see what changes here. And I told them, and this is not new information, but we've done things that have not worked, that have failed, right? Like that have been all out. Oh, nice mic mute sneeze. Well done. Man, that was full on and beautiful. Anyway, but we've done things that haven't worked. But you can't be afraid of that stuff, right? Like you just got to be able to go, God's good. Let's infuse goodness and show God's love in practical ways with kindness. Infuse it into things that suck and go, let's inject it in here and see what the heck happens. And sometimes miracles happen.
Yeah, for sure. We were talking about this on Sunday at church for our anniversary weekend, and Dave, the verse you used out of Matthew 5 is perfect for this, because it says, "Let your light so shine before men that they see your good works, your goodness, and glorify God in heaven." And so that's really what we do. Like there's goodness in us that we want to. It's not enough to just have it there and go, "Thanks God, you're really good," but it's actually you do something that shows the goodness. And man, we found now for 17 years, it just always works. It always does something good for the people you do it for. It does something good for you while you're doing it. And I think it just creates this momentum in a city or a neighborhood and beyond that doesn't have to stop.
Sometimes it's miraculous. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's even ground. But it's never bad when you inject kindness and goodness into something. It's a no lose. Like, even if it's not profound. Well, that was incredibly loud. Was that you?
Fries are done.
That was what? That's a serious ding. but it's never bad. You can't lose with it. So
it's almost like there's a God in heaven that cares. We want people to know they're loved. So in this year of shine, David, we get to shine, and we get to now we get more space to shine in. So that's always fun.
Yes, try what was profound. Yeah. Very nice. Curtis, good to see you, buddy.
Curtis, did you shave, or is that an old picture? Look at he's got no furry face.
He's got no furry face.
I want to know if he's shaved. There you go. So
Curtis, yeah. Did you shave? We'll stay here for like another 30 seconds. Did you shave?
But it's something anyone can do. You can receive God's love.
Shave?
It's so old. It's a picture's old.
That's a bummer.
You can receive that light and that love, and then you can give it away. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
We went overtime, so the person that I'm next going to talk to is getting antsy. That's what that is.
Yeah, well, you tell him Dave says hi. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, Dave.
This is exciting.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.